All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we actually have a legendary individual, an original member of the iconic R&B group Tone. We have Elijah Baker right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing best I could possibly be down here in Canada. Just enjoying that crisp fall weather, man. I hope everything is all well on your end as well.
What part of Canada?
I'm on the East Coast, so I'm actually in between Ottawa and Toronto.
Ooh, I love Toronto.
I do too. Trust me, it's actually my favorite city to visit. That's actually my vacation, my go-to getaway place. It's not too far, so I can get away for a weekend and get back in the same day. I love it.
Yes, America, Toronto, Canada. I ain't been to Ottawa, but Toronto, Canada is the place to be.
I always consider Toronto kind of like the Canadian version of New York City. I don't really think Toronto ever sleeps.
Nah, they don't, and they good people out there, but they nicer than New Yorkers.
I definitely agree with that, depending on what time of night and what area you go. But I got to say, I definitely agree for the most part.
Yeah, I ain't got no issues.
But also, I know you're a busy guy, Elijah, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I want to take you back to your humbling beginnings, man, where you actually became a member of Toni. I was always wondering, man, what is the story behind that group? And of course, like, how did you actually get connected with the other members?
Well, ironically, we are related in some form or fashion. Raphael Sadiq is my first cousin. His mother and my father are siblings. Antron Hill and Tim Riley, their parents are siblings. Carl Wheeler, he's a childhood friend. We've known since he was 5, 6 years old. Dwayne Wiggins is Raphael's half brother, and there you have it.
Honestly, I never knew that. So just going back and just hearing what you actually just said, it definitely explains how you guys have such phenomenal chemistry in that group, and that right there sums it all up.
Yeah, I'll take it a little further. We all was different age brackets. Dwayne Wiggins, he was the oldest, he had us about 8 years. Then Raphael, Tim, and Carl Wheeler, they graduated in '84 at the same time. I graduated in '86. Antron graduated in '88. So we all was different generations. So we just formed after we all graduated out of high school. But we all had like 3 or 4 different bands we were in together.
And also, as well, on April 18th of 1988, you guys actually released the amazing debut studio album titled Who. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this album, and of course, from what you can recall, what was it like just being in the studio creating this masterpiece record?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't in there creating the first record. Tommy and Denny, in Vogue producers, Too Toughen Up, they had a production deal with Wing Polygram, and they wanted to sign Toni, which was a 6-man group at the time. They decided to just take the 3 and sign them to their production deal. They wasn't signed directly to the record company, but they were signed as a production deal through Tommy and Denny. And so they produced our first record. We actually produced 3 songs on that album, Not Gonna Cry For You, and Pain, and Dwayne's song 261.5, and Antron's song I'm Not Gonna Cry For You. No, Pain was on Revival. Sorry, I'm Not Gonna Cry For You. That was Antron Hill's song.
And I gotta say, just when you mentioned Pain a few moments ago, that is actually my favorite track off that record. That and also Born Not to Know.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say, I definitely, those are my 2 favorite songs. The whole album is phenomenal, but yeah, if you have to pick just 2, those are definitely my 2 picks.
Yeah, Sky's the Limit is my favorite song on the Revival. And my brother played guitar. Eric Kenya Baker played guitar on Pain, your favorite song.
And I also read as well that you guys actually had the opportunity to actually visit Soul Train as well. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that. And of course, what was it like just being able to visit the set of Soul Train? Because that show was like absolutely iconic back in the day.
It was very surreal. For some reason, we wasn't overly excited, but we was happy and we appreciated being on there. It was just like a I can see for myself, it was just like another gig. Because at that time, you're doing all kind of TV programs. But to make it on Soul Train, it should have felt like amazing, but it almost felt like we knew we was going to be there. Like I did. That's how I felt. I can't even speak on how they felt. I feel like I knew I was going to be there for some strange reason.
I gotta say though, just looking at something big like that as just another gig is actually kind of a good thing as well. Because if you go in there being like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on national television, I'm gonna be broadcasted everywhere," it might get your nerves going. But if you just look at it as a normal gig, you'll go in there and just knock it out the park.
Well, you understand, you're not performing live, so you're lip syncing, and you got to understand we've been playing professionally since we were kids. So we always played in venues of hundreds of people, thousands of people, in some form of fashion, whether it's in church or is it an auditorium or was it a talent show. So we was already grown to that feeling, so it didn't feel no different to me.
And before we move off the topic of this actual show, the one thing I've always wondered, did they actually like kind of censor your music and tell you what you can and can't play? Do they choose your music, or do they kind of give you the freedom to be like, you know what, you have however minutes for a set, play whatever you want to play?
Who you talking about, Soul Train or recording a record?
Oh, sorry, Soul Train. My apologies.
Oh no, the single they choose for you to perform, you just play it, and they fade it out at their discretion. You know, they'll tell you, yeah, we're gonna cut it at this minute, but you don't see a clock, so you just sing until your song starts fading away, and the crowd start clapping.
And also, as well, in 1996, you actually had the opportunity to actually work production for female hip-hop artist Suga T on her album Paper Chase. And I was wondering, how did yourself and Suga get connected? And, of course, what was it like just actually working alongside her in the studio?
Well, we all from the Bay Area, Oakland and Vallejo, where E40 and the whole entire family, D-Shot, D-Legit, Suga T from. It's like 30 minutes from Oakland. So we all had peers in the business, and I can't recall even how I met Suga T, but when I did meet her, I think it was in the studio, and she said she heard some of my music, and she said she wanted me to produce her, and she ran across her brother, Earl Stevens, which is E40, and he agreed, and that's how I got a couple songs on her records.
And I gotta say as well, you did some phenomenal production work on that record as well, man. You know, I gotta say, when it comes to an Elijah Baker production, you already know it's gonna be a treat for your ears.
Thank you very much.
And was that the only time you actually had the opportunity to work with her, or did you actually work on more of her projects as well?
Oh, I worked on more projects as well. I did Suga T back in those days. I did I did YT Style. I did Club Nouveau. I did AK. I did. I was working with Eazy-E's sister, my little sister. She never get released, but I definitely worked on her project too. And a plethora of other hip-hop artists around the Bay. Ed Banks, Too Short, E40, Jay Spencer. He had a hip-hop jazz album. I produced most of that in the early 90s, and, so on.
And also, as well, in '98, you actually did vocals for Ohio hip-hop duo 1111's album, Creeping Off the Hideaway. I was wondering, from what you can recall, man, can you tell us a bit more about that collab? And, of course, what was it like just working alongside Felony One and Crash?
Listen, how do you know about it? They're going to be excited. Well, rest in peace, Crash passed away. Rest in peace, Crash. That happened right inside a group called Headshots. They're from Akron, Ohio. And that made the California Bay Area and Akron, Ohio connection. So once we met there, we met other friends from Akron, and they had groups, and they took a liking to me, and I started producing all the other groups in Akron, Ohio, like Chino Nino, 1111, and this other rapper named Saeed, and then the R&B artist named Todd Malik. So I initially and just got connected with Akron from that point on. But working with Felony and Crash, it was way before their time. Like, if you listen to their album right now, it still sounds current. Like, they got timeless music, and I wish more people would hear 1111 and Chino Nino. They like got great projects that they've never seen the real day of light.
And I gotta say as well, just the song that you did, California Weekend, was an absolute phenomenal song. And like you said, it is a very timeless record, man. You know, you can really put that in, and it can really still be relevant today in 2022. And it's very.
You know, they're really going to be happy to hear that, because, you know, why it stays relevant, because actually the 90s sound is back in style now, for one. And for two, we use live instrumentation. We didn't do a lot of sampling. We played everything live and just programmed the drums that was current at the time. So that's why it's staying the test of time, because of live instrumentation. That would make it timeless.
Yeah, when you said a few moments ago about how the 90s are back in style, it coming from an individual that like grew up in the 90s and whatnot, man, to me it's weird kind of seeing kids wearing 90s fashion and whatnot, man. It still blows my mind to be like, no, just go back home and put some like today's clothes on. It's weird. It's like going in a time machine sometimes.
Listen, especially if you're a sneaker collection, like, who would have thought I'll be wearing the same sneakers I was wearing 30 years ago? I'm talking about the Jordans, you know. And the shell told Adidas, like, they still in style. 30 years ago, I would never have thought in a million years that these shoes would still been the same.
I gotta say, I definitely agree, and people are actually paying mad money to get those 1990s sneakers as well, and it's like, man, that's crazy. Just go to Foot Locker and get yourself some $200, $300 Jordans. You don't need to pay thousands of dollars for a pair of shoes that got worn by someone in the 90s.
Hey, man, they want that retro. That brand is big, and you're a Jordan lover. You're a Jordan lover that just happen to be the whole world, you know?
I guess in a way I don't understand it, because I lived the era, right? So I guess in a way, if you didn't really live it, I guess you'd pay money for it. But I don't know. I wouldn't pay thousands of dollars for a pair of Jordans that I had about 20 years ago. It makes no sense.
well, it's not to wear. For an investment, yeah, because it's a big business, you know. If you got a pair of retros and they hot, thought-off item, you can make big money off of them. So if you're doing it for the business, it's good. But if you just win them, no, I wouldn't do that either.
And also, as well, just going back to Toni here for a moment, in 2003, you guys actually did a reunion where you were actually invited by Alicia Keys to actually be guest artist on her album, The Diary of Alicia Keys. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that, and of course, what was it like just being in the room with everybody again in 2003? Because that was quite a bit of a jump in the timeline to kind of have a reunion alongside Alicia Keys.
Well, Raphael wasn't there, but it was the rest of us. And this is actually the first album I played bass on. This is the only song I ever played bass on with Toni. I did all the live shows. Raphael did all the recordings. Everybody always thought that was me playing the bass because I play it verbatim in concert, but that was Raphael playing all the Toni's hits. But I played Alicia Keys' Diary song, and that was my first studio session with the Tonys. And Dwayne had a relationship with her, and he called for all of us. If him and Raphael was cool at the time, Raphael probably got that call, but they had their little disagreements at that point, and I was lucky enough to get that call and be a part of that 10 million seller, 3 Grammy Award winning project on my debut of playing the bass with Toni.
I gotta say as well, that's one hell of a debut. Honestly, one hell of a debut.
I gotta take that one and wear that proudly on my sleeve.
And I have to ask, well, what was it like just being at the 2005 Grammy Awards as well? Because it must have been, like you just mentioned, it was your first time actually playing that particular instrument on a record, and it got nominated for that many Grammys. Like, what was it like just being there and hearing that you guys won?
Well, I didn't go. Me personally, I don't really like award shows unless I got to perform. Other than that, it's too long. It's too long, and you don't like every genre or every artist of music that performs, so it get kind of boring at times. Um, I just appreciate the news of winning and celebrate at the house, me personally.
I gotta say, I don't blame you. Either way, you're gonna get your award mailed to you either way. So might as well sit at home and use the PVR to skip through the stuff you don't like.
Right. Exactly.
And also on May 7th of 2007, you actually released the phenomenal 11-track album titled "Street Savior." I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this solo project of yours, and of course, is it still available to be streamed or purchased today?
Yes, it's available on iTunes. It's available on all digital outlets. All my music is. I did Street Segment. It was my first time debuting as a singer because I ain't never released songs on a project of my own. I was kind of like shy, but when I was a kid at 5, I was singing all the time, but I never took it seriously. I used to sing in church. And my father is a gospel quartet artist, a great singer, and a showman. And I had it somewhere deep down inside of me, the vocals. I picked up his guitar skills and his dancing, but I didn't know if I had his pipes. And come to find out, people liked my voice, so it gave me the confidence to just go ahead and record me a record. And after I did Street Savior, I came back with Park Avenue Soul Palation, where I did a collaboration with all my friends, all my talented friends, and did like a soulful compilation type of record with featuring different artists. But I produced everything, wrote and produced everything, and sung on about 3 songs.
And I gotta say as well, that project is definitely phenomenal, man. There's one of those. Honestly, when it comes to projects like that, you really cannot skip a song, in my honest opinion.
I appreciate that because you know what my plan was while I was making that record? Like back in the day, I don't know how old you are, but back in the day, in the 80s, your favorite song wouldn't come on to like an R&B station. Your favorite song wouldn't come on to like 6 to 8 hours later. So you had rap at that time, you had R&B, you had funk, and you had slow, love songs at that time. So I wanted my album to be a feeling and to mirror that timeline of music where you can't put on a Michael Jackson record, you can't put on a Chic record, you can't put on a DeBarge record and just play it from 1 to 10 without fast forwarding anything. So I had perfectly planned that to make my album feel like that, like an 80s radio station. And not one record sound the same on the album either.
And also, jumping ahead of the timeline a little bit, on November 24th of 2021, you actually released the amazing 10-track album titled "A Real Motherfunker." I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners there's just a story behind this most recently released album, and of course, do you actually have any hard copies available of this project to be purchased today?
Well, everything is for overhead purposes. A lot of people don't listen to CDs no more, where, in America, where I'm from. So everything's digital. Everybody up on the USBs. But all my music is available on digital outlets: iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube. It's all on there, all my music. And my record label, Ambitious Records. And also, currently, we're working on, I don't know if you've seen the documentary. Have you seen the 2020 documentary?
I have not, but I have been meaning to check it out.
Okay, well, the original band from Toni, Carl Wheeler, Antron Hill, myself, and Jubu, the baddest guitar player in the land, and Amar Khalil, who led sing for Raphael when he departed the group Toni from 98 to 2018. We all have a group together that we formed called 3TOB. 3T stand for Toni, and the OB stand for Original Band. So when I get that, I will definitely be sending you that music as well. And we're trying to have it out ready for about December. We got 6 songs completed. We got 4 more to complete. Then I'll be getting it all over to you.
Hey, definitely. If you send it, if you send it, we here at Outlaw Radio FM are definitely going to spin it. It sounds like you guys got a phenomenal Christmas gift for the fans, just judging by the sound of this project.
Well, we did a Christmas song. We remade This Christmas by Donny Hathaway featuring Virgil Rutherford. So I most definitely give you that one also.
And also as well, while we're actually talking about music and whatnot, that's being played on the station. Immediately following this broadcast, I'm actually going to be playing one of your songs titled "Just Dance" that was released on May 24th of this year, 2022. For the listeners that haven't had the opportunity to listen to this song, what can they expect from it when they hear it here first on 97.7 FM?
Well, I like high energy. I love music that makes you dance and get you in a good mood. So when you listen to Just Dance, it's self-explanatory. It's going to make you just dance.
I gotta say, it's definitely in the title, definitely a self-explanatory record, and I gotta say, it definitely is a get up and move feel kind of song.
Yeah, I like, it feels good. It's happy. A lot of bad lyrics and emotional songs going on today. I want to bring happiness back and love back in music. I don't stuff violent and sexual explicit stuff going on, but teachers on. I want to bring love and happy back.
And also, I have to ask, what is next for yourself, Elijah Baker? Because I do know a few moments ago you talked about a brand new record that has an estimated release date for December. But is there anything we happen to miss during this interview? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on 97.7 FM this evening.
Well, be on the lookout for my record label, Ambitious Record, with other artists. Be on the lookout. Working with a group called Chocolate Sunday with Dee Dee Simon and Silky. They're from Oakland, the two baddest females you ever gonna meet. Just imagine Mary J. Blige and Whitney Houston with Lauryn Hill all bottled into one. just imagine that's what you're gonna get with Chocolate Sunday. 3TOB top priority. I have my sunglasses EB3 eyewear I'm working on. They special orders only. They custom made. And I got my clothing line of Ambitious Apparel. And I got my IG Elijah _EB_E Baker EB Baker. And the same for Facebook, same for Twitter, Elijah EB Baker.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Elijah, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and just sliding into the Outlaw Radio FM airwaves this evening. It was such an honor and a privilege just to welcome a legendary, not only producer, but artist like yourself, man. So thank you so much for your time, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Man, I appreciate it for you even contacting me and giving me this opportunity, and I will be sure to get you, some music. And send me your sizes when my merchandise coming out. Send you service too, my friend.
Hey, most definitely. Like I mentioned before, if you send the music, I'm definitely going to spin it. Thank you so much, Elijah, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal weekend as well.
And you too. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Canada. I want to come see y'all soon.